As Gaza is reduced to ruins, the war has taken a terrible toll on the youngest and most vulnerable. Thousands of children have been killed or seriously injured. Thousands have gone missing, and thousands more have lost everything, their homes and their loved ones. The UN estimates that more than 17,000 children have been orphaned since the war began after the Hamas attacks on October the 7th. This is the Al-Ctib family, 9 of whom were killed in an airstrike in Al-Nuseirat in central Gaza in March. Their home, like thousands of others, flattened into a pile of rubble and twisted metal. Their bodies taken to a nearby hospital. Yusuf Al-Ctib, an NHS radiologist living in Liverpool, found out hours later on social media what happened to his family.
All of them have died. It was awful. It was distressing. I keep actually crying all the time. How can I accept what happened to my family?
But one child did survive. His nephew, 13-year-old Amer, escaped the worst of the blast because he was outside the house, just feet away when the missile hit.
It was a miracle. Amer suffered severe injuries, brain hemorrhage, fracture on the skull, severe burns. He already did around 8 surgeries till now.
Amer, seen here on the right, lost his parents and grandparents and every single one of his brothers and sisters in this picture. Islam was 19 when he died, a computer science student. Alia was 18. She wanted to be a dentist. Sindus was 16, Mohammed 11, and little Joanne was just 4 years old. Amer was evacuated to Egypt by a charity and taken to hospital. It was weeks before he found out what happened to his family.
It's very difficult on him. I was the only hope for him, to be honest. مبسوط. نص.
Yusuf flew to Egypt and set about arranging for Amer to receive urgent medical treatment. His left ear was badly damaged and needed to be reconstructed. But he had a lucky escape, the blast narrowly missing a major artery.
He's so brave. He's a courageous man. Although it was a very strong experience, but he's doing very well, and I'm proud of him.
When he's in Cairo, Yusuf applies for a visa to bring Amer to the UK to live with him. But his appeal initially falls on deaf ears. For now, Yusuf is fully focused on getting Amer through his next operation. While Yusuf hopes for good news about the visa from the UK, Amer needs another operation. The surgery over, he must deal with more pain. All Yusuf can do is console him. In the UK, Labour candidate Jess Phillips heard about Amer's case. She'd quit her party's front bench over its previous stance on a ceasefire in Gaza and offered to help Yusuf and Amer after 2 months of uncertainty.
When Yusuf got in touch and said that he'd applied for the visa, was told it was going to take weeks, at that point you pressed the nuclear button. I immediately got in touch with the immigration minister and said, look, this needs sorting today. You can help this kid. And to his credit, he came back immediately and said, we will get it sorted by the end of the day. And we got his visa into his hand within a day. We made you a sign. I actually didn't believe it when the minister texted me back and said, it's done, it will be processed, we've been in touch with them. I just couldn't believe it. I was bowled over.
Thank you so much. Without your help, nothing can be done, to be honest.
Oh,
so
well,
really,
it's just I've got everybody's right phone numbers, Yusuf.
It was really very amazing moment. At the end, there is some hope. At least there is one member of my family has been saved. and now he is living with me in a new country and possibly giving him a second chance in this life to be whatever he would like to be.
What do you want a future government to do for people like Amer who have been orphaned in Gaza?
What I would want to see is a family reunification scheme at the minimum. If it can be done for Amer, and he is no extra, and even if it was, he has a family here to live with. This isn't a need for housing. This isn't a need for... This is a child with no one left in the world. If it's possible, then it's possible.
And would you expect a Labour government, if there is a Labour government very soon, as all the polls suggest, would you expect that to be put right and such a scheme to be introduced within the first 100 days by Keir Starmer?
What I would expect and what I will be demanding, I will continue to advocate for this regardless of who is in government.
Yusuf told me Amer reminded him of his brother. He hasn't had long to grieve, and he doesn't like to dwell too long on the past. A world away from what was home in Gaza, he concentrates on the present and the future.
I believe that taking care of Amer is one of my responsibilities, to remind him of his father, my brother. I know his father has left us, but at least we can do and support him in much similar way.
9 months after the Hamas attacks on October the 7th, and a world away from what was home in Gaza, he concentrates on the present and the future.
Well, joining me now is Conservative peer and former Foreign Office advisor Baroness Aminka Helic, herself a refugee, who's been pushing the government to set up a Ukraine-style visa scheme for Gazans orphaned by the war. Baroness Helic, your response first to our story there.
It's a heartwarming story just to hear how well we have worked from both sides of the aisle. Great to see Jess Phillips taking this up as an issue that she wants to pursue because she's very, very effective, and amazing to hear that the immigration minister responded so quickly. However, this is just one case. And as you have just mentioned, there are many, many, many more. There are 17,000 children who have who are unaccompanied minors. There are children who are wounded. There are children who are in daily suffering. Yesterday there was a report of 10 child amputees amputations that are done every single day, and we are talking about losing one or both legs. And I think we ought to find and check our humanity and find how we can best help, in particular because we have the expertise, and I have been working since November with a group in the UK here, Project Pure Hope, of trying to bring the injured children, limited number of injured children for limited periods so they can be helped. So far I have not been successful, but this is something I'm not going to give up on.
Well, why do you think you haven't been successful in that? Why should it be that it has to be, an MP sort of randomly texting a minister that allows someone like Amer to come here?
Well, it was obviously a very relatable case. That may be the case, but it also is. I have been asking for a scheme to be set up, something similar that we set up for the children of Ukraine, rightly, and I'm very proud of that. But something similar where children who have the blast injuries, where we can help, and as I say, not in massive numbers, but with limited emergency care, that where we can ensure that children do not lose their limbs, where we can ensure that they do not die unnecessarily, we could have and we should pursue that. And I don't know, you will have to ask that question a minister if you get a chance.
Well, and we will be asking the Home Secretary, James Cleverly, later in the programme. But, what does it say about us as a country and about your party, which used to call itself the Compassionate Conservatives? What does it say about the two of those that we don't seem able to find it in our hearts to make room for more of those 17,000 orphans?
I think, it's not a problem with the country. I think the British people have big hearts. They have always tried to help, etc. But it needs to come from the top. We really need a government to find its humanity, if you want. This government or any government on the 5th of July next week, to find and check its humanity and try to help where we can. And again, I just want to repeat, for limited numbers of children with for limited period, so that we can show that we can help them, because we have that capability. We have shown that in other cases.
Is it inhumanity at the heart of government, or is it a concern about public reaction to high levels of immigration?
I don't see that these children are not migrants. They are not coming on boats. They would not increase the number of people who come to this country. These children are in cases that need immediate and urgent care. We are lucky to live in the country that has that possibility, that has that capability, and we should extend that.
And the fact that it's been done for Ukraine and not for the orphans of Gaza, Jess Phillips suggested to me there was a racial dimension there. Do you agree with that?
I would say there are double standards here, and we ought to go back and look at this, because it doesn't really speak well of us collectively if we treat some children with compassion and other children with lack of compassion.
Baroness Amer, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.